This is Eugene Panrudkovich. I'm the laptop screen doc, and the name of the website is www.screensurgeons.com. Today we have an ASUS U57A laptop computer with a cracked screen, and I'm going to show you how to replace a cracked screen on an ASUS U57A laptop computer. And also this procedure will work with other variations of the U57 where the letter after the U57 is something other than an A. Okay, before we do anything with this or any other laptop computer, we want to make sure that it's safe to work on, and that means removing all sources of power, and that includes the battery. So we flip the laptop over, and on either side of the battery there's two levers. One is the locking lever and one is the release lever. We slide the locking lever to the left and we see an orange spot there. And then we slide the release lever to the right, and that allows us to slide the battery out. And also, while we're on the bottom of the laptop, I'll show you where to find the model number. It's the blue sticker that says ASUS on it, and the first line says model U57A, and that's where you find the model number. And also on the newer laptops, there will be a label on the palm rest will have the model number too. Okay, in order to get to the screen assembly for this or any other laptop, we have to remove the screen bezel. That's the plastic frame around the screen. In order to remove the screen bezel, we have to remove two screws that are at the bottom that are hiding behind some rubber covers. So before we start on that, I'll go over the tools we're going to need today. We have a PH1 electronics screwdriver. PH stands for Phillips, and 1 is the size. A smaller PH00 screwdriver, that's for smaller screws, and a 2mm flathead screwdriver, and that's to pry things open if we need it. A pair of metal tweezers to remove any screws that may be stuck, and an X-Acto knife or a hobby knife, and that's to remove the plastic or rubber covers that the screws are hiding behind that. So let's get started on that. We use our X-Acto knife to remove the rubber covers, and what I like to do is put them right next to the screw opening so I don't lose them. The same with this one, like so. And then we use our PH1 screwdriver to remove the two screws, like so. 1 and 2. And for each set of screws, I like to keep them in a separate pile so I know which screws go where for each step when putting the laptop back together. Okay, the next step is probably the most difficult one, that's removing the screen bezel. It snaps off. So what we do for that is we put our fingertips or fingernails on the screen side and lift up and out and listen for snapping sounds. When we hear snapping sounds, that's a good sign. That means the bezel's coming off, and we work our way around the screen, and if we get stuck at a point, we keep going and we'll come back to that part later on. So we keep working our way around like so, and the one part that we're stuck on, we're going to come back to that and remove it. And then once we work the bottom off, we lift the bezel up and out like so, and it comes off, and we put the bezel to the side. Okay, once we removed the bezel, we see the screen assembly. And for this type of screen, it's mounted by screws on the side that we have to get to. And for this particular laptop, the procedure to get to those screws is a little bit different than most laptops, so be careful with this one. The screws are kind of hiding right now, so they're hard to reach, so we have to remove some other screws in order to get to the screws on the screen side. So the first thing we do is we remove the two screws at the top, one here and one here. And then I'll loosen up the metal mounting brackets so we can get to the screws on the side. 1 and 2. And that's a separate pile of screws here. Next step is on each hinge, there's 2 screws at the bottom, 1 and 2, that we have to remove, and 1 and 2. And that's also to loosen up the back of the screen assembly so we can get to our screws. So we remove these 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once we do that, I'll show you what we did. We can wiggle the back of the screen assembly a little bit, and that gives us just enough space to get to the screws on the side. There's 3 screws on each side, so we reach in with our PH1 screwdriver and remove these screws one by one. If any of these screws get stuck in there, you can use the tweezers to remove those screws. There's 2, and finally 3, like so. And we do the same thing on the other side. So 1. You can also use the smaller PH00 screwdriver to get in there. It's a little bit easier to get in there with that one. 2. And also, once again, you can dig them out with the metal tweezers. I dug them out with the screwdriver, but you can dig it out with the tweezers. Okay, once we remove all the screws holding the screen, we're going to gently tilt the screen forward, make sure it's not getting stuck on anything, like so. And make sure that the cable is not getting caught on anything. And we put the screen down. For this type of screen, there's only one connector here, and that's the connector we have to remove. In order to do that, we have to lift up the adhesive tape, and what I did was loosen it up with my fingernail on one edge and lift it up, being careful around the connector itself not to damage the connector. And also the back of the video cable has some adhesive on it also, so we gently lift that up, and once we remove both, we gently slide the connector out like so, and the screen is free. So before we go any further, I'm going to show you how to reconnect the screen. What we do is we slide the connector in, and you'll feel but not hear 2 clicks. That means the connector is properly engaged. Let's get a close-up of what the connector should look like. Here's a close-up. Pause the video right there and make sure your connection looks like this. There should not be a gap in the seam between the 2 sides of the connection. The 2 sides of the connection should be flush with each other. Okay, so once we remove the screen, I'll show you what the screen looks like. This is the back of the screen. It's a 15.6-inch LED screen, and as of late 2012, that's the most common type of screen that's used in laptop computers. Let's get a number. The part number that you're looking for is N156BGE. N156BGE. That's all you need to know. Okay, now we at Screen Surgeons also have this screen available for sale, and what you get with us is this exact same toolkit. Comes for free with the screen. We have a 2-year warranty on the screen itself. If it develops problems during the 2 years, we'll replace it at no charge. We have free email technical support, so if you have a problem during the installation, any steps, send us an email and we'll walk you through it. And we have fast delivery. This screen ships from warehouses both on the East Coast and the West Coast, so your screen will arrive in 3 days or less most of the time for continental US addresses. And also, if you live outside of the United States, we can most likely ship to your country. To order the screen from us, go to www.screensurgeons.com. There will be a short form for you to fill out with the laptop model, and that will guide you to the right screen to buy it online. Okay, once you do receive your screen connected as I showed you, mount the screen back in the metal mounts and use the PH00 screwdriver. The small one's probably better to work the screw in, and then you have to manipulate the back of the screen so you have enough space to work it in. Then put the 2 screws in at the bottom on each side and the screw at the top on each side. After that, snap the screen bezel back on. Put the 2 screws in at the bottom and put the rubber screw covers on top of that, and you'll be done. Okay, that's it. Once again, my name is Eugene Panrutkovich. I'm the laptop screen doc, and the name of the website is www.screensurgeons.com. Thank you very much, and good luck.